relationship to Thoth. Hashtag my deck and I. This is a VR to Natalia's video. Hashtag my deck and I. So I watched that video, and I feel the same way about my tarot decks that I do about perfume. I have a signature scent, one that I've worn my whole life, or as long as I can remember. Now is really hard to find, but it's tattooed on my brain. So if ever I run out of what I have, and I have a small supply left, it's always going to be a part of me. It's always going to be mine. I feel the same, and that's, since I brought it up, I might as well say that's Cody Wild Musk. Long discontinued, reformulated, whatever's available now is Drek. This is my deck. Rider-Waite is my deck. It's not Thoth. I just discovered Thoth, so I'm not going to pretend and do a video and talk to you about my lifelong relationship with Thoth. I don't have one with Thoth. I just picked it up a few months ago, but I will mention it in this video. So my video is going to be a little bit different than everyone else's, because I'm going to talk about my deck and I, my relationship with tarot, and the deck I've had, So my first ever tarot deck, I've mentioned this 100 times, sorry it's boring, was the plaid back Rider-Waite. I have one from the 80s, not my original one, but 1980s, and I keep it. I keep it because sometimes I just like to flip through it to see if it still has that effect on me, and it's a little depressing. It captures the time and place of when I was learning tarot, and it was a very dark time and place. 16 years old. Who's not dark and disturbed at 16? Come on. Anyway, I put that away, the Rider-Waite, the plaid back, gave it away, whatever, doesn't matter. After 10 years of working with it, when I discovered the Morgan Greer. And then I continued to work with the Morgan Greer for 20 years before I discovered buying different decks again. So this was my go-to for 20 years. This has never been my deck. This has been the deck that I read for other people. But this has never been a deck that I'd be able, like, if I jotted down the questions, this has never been my deck. This is the deck that I used to read for others. This one, it's strange. It's Rider-Waite. It's definitely Rider-Waite. But we don't have a close relationship. Personal relationship. My spirits don't talk to me about, don't contact me about me through these cards. I have difficulty connecting with these on a personal level. But to read for other people, for 20 years, they were my workhorse. And they still continue to be excellent to read for other people. My deck is the Rider-Waite, the original artwork. But specifically, the one that that's my deck. When I hear the word tarot deck, right away I think of this. This is what I think of. This is also my workhorse. This is the deck I use to read for other people. But it's also the deck where these images are tattooed on my brain. I know this one so well, but it knows me better. So isn't like, and that's what I guess this video is about. This deck knows me way better than I know it. When I'm clairvoyant, and I will, when images flash, sometimes there'll be tarot cards. Even without a deck in my hand, I will see a tarot card, and it will describe a situation to me in images. So let me answer the questions. Is your deck observing you, or are you observing your deck, or both? Since my very first tarot deck, the plaid back, it was clear to me that the deck observed me. Whenever I've done, from the first time I pulled a card, and I still remember the first card I ever pulled for myself was the Eight of Swords. It was clear to me from the get-go that the tarot observes me. I don't observe it. I turn to it to ask it, what does it see that I don't about me? Number 2, when you read with it, does it read your internal psyche well? Yes, it does. When I read with this deck, it will describe it will tell me about me. It will explain to me what I'm feeling. It will explain to me what I'm thinking. It will call me out and say, it will show me my blind spots. So yes, when I read it, it does read my internal psyche. I can predict what card's gonna come out when I read for myself. If I go to the cards because I'm feeling anxiety, or I'm feeling unsettled because I'm not sure that someone was honest with me, before I even pull the card, I know that I will draw the Seven of Swords. So in that respect, yes, it does read my internal psyche well. If I go to the card and say, what is wrong with me? Like, what it will definitely tell me what's wrong with me. To me. The tarot explains me to me, which is why I got into tarot in the first place. I got into tarot to understand myself, because I felt that from the first time I picked up my own deck, that it was explaining things to me about myself. I don't want to jump ahead to the next questions. What about your internal environment, situations, and people? Yes. It explains to me what I'm thinking. It explains to me what I'm feeling. It explains to me my place in a situation. It explains to me other people's motivation in a certain situation. So absolutely. It explains to me the energy in a certain environment. And it explains to me how to navigate that environment or that energy. Does your deck mirror back who you are, or does it mirror back the other? Well, I have to say, this one mirrors me back, for sure. But on all planes, like it mirrors back to me on the mental plane, the emotional, the environment, like physical plane. This one is definitely a mirror. A new deck in my arsenal is the Thoth. And the thought, mine is in order because I was comparing it to my brand new AGM one um, coloration for myself. I was following, it's a long story. It doesn't matter. You don't need to know why it's in order. This new deck came into my life early this year. This one mirrors back who I am. Differently. Like this one asks me question. This one asks me the questions. Okay, I got confused. This one mirrors me 100%. This is hashtag my deck and I. But this one asks me the questions that this one doesn't. When this one mirrors back to me, you're deeply disappointed in something or someone. This deck will ask me, but why? Why are you disappointed? What were you expecting? So that's how that one is different. Does my deck mirror back who I am? The Tarot of the Magical Forest mirrors back who I am. This is the landscape, my internal landscape. It's tied into that whole inner child, but really this one mirrors back to me, my internal landscape. Although this one is the original. This is a clone of this one. But the color palette and the quality of the artistic rendition of the landscape with these anthropomorphized animals and the way they look, they fix me with their gaze. This one definitely mirrors back to me who I am internally. So it's not uncommon for me to reach for this deck when I need to look within to understand me better. And the other, and I do have a deck that mirrors the other. This is my mom. This is the Druid craft. And whether it's spirit or whether it's my mom that lives in here, doesn't matter. This is the deck that mirrors. This is the deck that communicates to me. This is my mother speaking to me. And my mother passed away in 2012. And this is my mother talking to me. My mother talks to me through these cards, and it's uncanny. Have you noticed any changes with your relationship evolving over time the more you use the deck? The more I use this deck, it's not the exact same deck I've been using for 36 years, but the more I use this deck, it's a part of me. Like I can turn to this one for a different view. Literally a different view, right? Color palette, characters, the whole thing. I can turn to this one because I need my mom. I can turn to this one when I want to psychoanalyze myself, right? Which is what we're doing with the tarot anyway. But when I want to be challenged, I turn to this one because this one will ask me questions about. There's 78 cards, and each card has like at least a dozen questions that it can ask you, depending on what you're consulting the cards about. So at least, like I'm just making that up, but this to me is the deck that asks me the questions. This is me. This is my friend. This is my worldview. This deck is home. It's even more than home. It's you know that favorite question, right? Oh, if you can only choose one. Well, it would have to be this one. It's not my favorite deck. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my aesthetically favorite deck. I love a lot of the decks I own. But if I could only have one tarot deck, it would have to be this one. Because our relationship has changed a lot over time. These used to be external to me when I first got them. I'm 16 years old, and they freaking scared the shit out of me. I thought they were bewitched. I thought they were magical. Well, I wasn't wrong. They are. They are magical. But it's over 36 years of working with them that I learned over time. I don't even know when it happened, that they went from being external to a part of me, and a part, and internalized, where I actually view the world in terms of these cards. It's like often you'll hear people say, "Oh, I had a real tower moment," right? But I'll actually, sometimes picture myself going, "Ew, what is it with this like a two of pentacles situation I'm having here?" So that's the relationship has changed, where this has become integrated. Me and this deck of cards, whether I physically have it or not, it's integrated with me. So that's how our relationship has changed and evolved, where it started out as something external, an oracle I went to. I consulted the oracle. Oh, these cards were separate from me, and I'm going to look inside I'm going to look inside the cards to see what they're telling me about this situation. Now they are an extension of me. All right, hope that made sense. Yeah, this was the hashtag my deck and I response to Natalia's. Take care and have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.